morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 9th, 2026 ESS Finance Subcommittee meeting. Before we start, I want to make sure that we do have a quorum. So I see that I am here, Mel is here, Sherry is on, Amy is on, Geraldine, did you see Geraldine? Don't see Geraldine. Kelly? No. So we have 4 out of the 8. No, 4 out of the 6. We should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should be good. Need 1 plus the majority, correct?
But it have to include the
Oh, we have to.
subscribers.
And Ditzworth is here, Melissa is here.
Natalie, is Natalie on?
No. I think I have her cell phone, let me text her.
Okay. We'll wait. Oh, and Susan. And Miss Susan. So we'll pause just for a minute. We should wait. We did, okay. Okay, it looks like we now have a quorum. So I have the members of the ESS committee, a finance subcommittee, Stacy, Mel, Sherry, Geraldine, and Amy. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll start with the March 5th, 2026 summary of the subcommittee actions. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes? Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I would take a motion for approval.
This is Mel, I can move to approve.
Mel, do I have a second? I'll second. This is Stacy. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to the financial reports. We'll start with Lisa with the accounts receivable update.
Hello, everyone. All of these are related to maintenance invoices that were issued sometime in January, I believe. We'll be following up with everyone. We know some people are paying in the next fiscal year, but we are going to follow up with a fresh invoice with our new address on it because our move will be complete today.
That's great. Any questions for Lisa? Thank you. Okay, moving on, we will go ahead and start with the April summary of the March ESS payments with Samantha.
Okay, accounts payable for the month of March, the $340 for Iowa Solutions, and then also the $2,044.50 was for the computer dock and new computer for the executive director position. The 1825 was for the ESS special meeting that was held here in the office for cookies that day. 6148 for Stacy was for mileage to the ESS meeting. And then the three $13 charges was for Lisa, Kristen, and Jamie to attend the ISAC presentation downtown. The $100 shown here was for the purchase of two additional chairs for the new office. We purchased these off Marketplace. And the $27,550 was for the AccuSoft license for April through March of next year. $1,750 was for the deposit on the new office space. And then the first month rent, which is actually for April, but you'll see this a few days before the month that it's for each month, for $3,472. The second invoice for Visionary for the website redesign came in at the end of March for $3,429.60. And then the Tyler bill, I've highlighted here. Most of this is for forward file redaction, but approximately 1,000 of it was for back file redaction, which will come out of the reserve. Credit card expenses for the month of March. The $5,484 was for Business Furniture Warehouse for new desks for the new office. And the $42.78 was to buy a TV mount for the conference room at the new office. Just as a reminder, any furniture for the new office will be coming out of the reserve account, which I will move when we pay the credit card off this month. $20.26 was for the domain registration with advanced technology. And then the $329.99 here, we did receive this TV from Amazon. However, it has not been charged to our card yet, so I just wanted to highlight that in red to make sure that you knew that it hadn't been charged. $19.99 was for a second Adobe subscription for the new executive director. $308.70 was for a 2-man in a truck to move the new conference tables and side chairs that we purchased off Marketplace to the new location. $249 was for Elegant Themes. It's a project called Divi Builder. It's a plugin for WordPress, and this is a lifetime license, so we only have to pay for this one time. The $750.49 was for conference room chairs for the new office. And the $49.99 was for a metal rack for the firewall, router, and probably paper storage for the new office. The $21 was the second domain registration with AIT. There should be one more coming in April to be expected. And $454.84 was for miscellaneous new office supplies for the new office. And then the $36.23 was for the additional subscription for the executive director to join Slack. So just one more user for those last 5 months until the annual subscription renews in August. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the payment reports.
Thank you, Sam. Any questions? Me in the chat? No? Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Hearing none, I would take a motion for approval.
Sherry, so move to approve.
Sure. Do I have a second? Thank you, Sherry.
This is Mel, I can second.
Thanks, Mel. So moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the Fund 255 for March reimbursement invoice update. Looks like just interest, Sam. Go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then I did provide this vendor list by account with notes. If you have any questions on this list, please let me know.
This is very helpful, Sam. So thanks. I think we did it last year as well. So very, very helpful. Nice cheat sheet. So,
Geraldine's having a hard time hearing.
oh, okay. Are you having a hard time hearing me? I'll try and speak up. I'll move down closer to the mic. Sorry about that. Somebody have any questions about the vendor list for 2026? I just appreciate Sam providing that. So, okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the March Fund 255 reimbursement invoice.
We will not have a Fund 255 reimbursement invoice this month. The account was not reconciled in time. So we will add, I believe it was about $400 for interest. We will just add that to next month's invoice.
Okay, you should clarify that it was not reconciled by the state treasurer, not us.
Correct. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. So I think it was, I went back 485.24, I think was the amount. And, it was, let me see here. Yeah. So you can go back and see it on the March 5th meeting from our ESS meeting as well in the packet, that 485.24. So we'll just have the report for next month, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So any questions about that? There you go. Yeah, you'll see the 485.24 for interest. Okay, let's move on to the February 2026 financial reports. Can you guys hear me better?
Yeah, there are a few comments, a little.
Okay.
Carolyn said, yes.
Okay.
Um,
I
Okay.
can hear you fine.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Financial reports for February, the Bankers Trust settlement account opened with the beginning balance of $0 and ended with a balance of $0. And the account was successfully reconciled. The money market sweep account opened with a balance of $1,444,344.97 and ended with a balance of $1,416,982.41. Interest for the month did drop a little bit to 2.53%. So for the month of February, we did earn $2,880.85, a little bit over what we were originally projecting in the budget that was approved in February. And the reconciliation for the money market sweep account. And the drawdown account with cleared balance of $99,360.80. Budgeted profit and loss for February with budgeted income of $140,976.86. Against budgeted expenses of $239,454.37, with a net income of a negative $98,477.51. For the full profit and loss for February 2026, again, budgeted income at $140,976.86. with revolving income at $2,570,534.42, with a gross profit for the month of $2,711,511.28. The difference between the budgeted profit and loss and this profit and loss are the reserve expenses, and then also the revolving expenses and depreciation. So I just have those highlighted here to let you know why I show two profit and loss statements every meeting. So again, budgeted expenses at $239,454.37. Those reserve expenses for the month accounted to $2,952.57. That is for redaction, some HR recruitment expenses for the executive director position, and then office furnishings, which will also come out of the reserve bank account. And depreciation expense for the month at $18,337.02. This is down from 2025 due to some computer software development coming fully depreciated during the year. With revolving expenses at $2,573,602.92. Total expenses for the month, $2,834,346.88, with a net income for the month of negative $122,835.60. A comparison from February 2026 to 2025. In 2025, we had just started the money market interest account, and at the very end of 2025, we did get that interest rate increase. So for the month of February, we are earning an extra $1,554.81. And then bad payment fees for 2026, we had a lot of returns and chargebacks during the month in 2026, where in 2025 we only had a few. POS fees are down 24.5%. I believe last year we had a lot of boat renewals, ATV, and this year we have not seen as many POS transactions. The on-demand service for Lynn County has stopped as of about mid-2025, so that'd be the difference here. With e-submission fees up 15%. We are no longer billing for the MOU services like we were in 2025. And then this miscellaneous income for $20 was for the sale of an old monitor. With the gross profit up 4.6% compared to 2025. The accounting software and services, this is mostly for the Right Networks and also QuickBooks each month. However, in 2025, they did bill us taxes, I believe in January. So this negative $144.18 was for the tax refund from Intuit. The Oasis and Connectify Human Resources, I just have this highlighted here, showing kind of the savings that we're getting after switching to Connectify. And then ESS meetings, this is higher than normal for the month of February because of the director search and the extra meetings that we had that month. The miscellaneous expense of $30.18. This was due to an accidental charge on the credit card account, which has since been reimbursed. And then the telephone expense of $206.13. This was $0 in February last year. The payment wasn't received in time in January of 2025, so they charged our credit card after I had already sent a check, so there was no charge in February. The bank account analysis fee up 120%, or $676.60 from 2025. And the gateway transaction expenses down about 8%. And this is mostly due to not having so many POS transactions. Conferences and meetings in 2025, we did pay for Phil to attend the PREA conference, which he in turn was not able to attend. So that would be the negative amount here for $491.37. And the policy coordinator position I've highlighted, this position is currently vacant. The JetBrains expense, this is higher for 2026 with the hiring of a third developer and then also some extra licenses for them to use, I believe, the AI portion of the coding. And then the $44.34 charge for Slack was the addition of our third developer for those last few months before the annual subscription renews. Local maintenance expense of $126,125.80. I believe we have all but one service provider paid for calendar year 2026. We're just waiting on that last one. And then net income 2025 compared to 2026, down about $124,128.82, mostly due to paying maintenance expenses at the beginning of the year instead of the beginning of fiscal year. Is there any questions before I move on? I know that was a lot.
The only question I had was for the $20, the miscellaneous income.
Oh.
So that's the only question I had. So any other questions, guys?
Okay, balance sheet at the end of February 2026, BT settlement account had $554,393.14. Just a reminder, this account is actually zero at the end of every single day. This is the amount of unreconciled transactions in the accounting software. Money market sweep account had a balance of $1,416,982.41. The money that is not accounted for by the reserve accounts was $791,433.30, with assets and liabilities totaling $2,830,165.68. Journal entries for the month. The first one here, all of these are journal entries moving money in and out of the money market sweep account and the settlement account every day, besides the ones that are highlighted. This first one here was to move the job listings from Indeed and LinkedIn to the reserve account, and then also the desk and chair to the reserve account. The Tyler Technology journal entry here was to move the backfile redaction fees from the bank account into the reserve account. And then the $2,000 here was for the conference room tables inside chairs bought off Marketplace, moving them to the reserve account. And then the depreciation journal entry for the month of February. The credit card account began with a balance of $11,951.06 with an ending balance of $3,100. $111.94. And the account was successfully reconciled. Fund 255 account for the month of February, beginning balance of $165,265.81 with an ending balance of $165,751.05. We did not make an invoice to submit to the state treasurers for this month. We will just add this $485.24 to next month's invoice. And the reconciliation for the Fund 255 account. And the profit and loss with the net income of $45,059.65. In the balance sheet with total assets and liabilities equaling $165,751.05. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the financial reports for February 2026.
Thanks, Samantha. Great detail. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Samantha or the team? Any in the chat?
Yeah, so the chat, you know, when we were talking about the vendor list, Erin specifically said the vendor list is great and helps those of us who don't know what all of these providers do. Thank you. And then Sherry said great explanations. And Melissa agreed. So that's all that we have in the chat.
Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion for the February 2026 financial reports approval. Do I have a motion?
This is Geraldine. I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Geraldine. Do I have a second?
This is Mel. I can second.
Thanks, Mel. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next thing on the agenda is the designation of a vice chair. So this is what was approved by the when we worked on the policy and procedures update, and we need to designate a vice chair for the subcommittee. So I would take nominations for a vice chair. And I would nominate Sherry Jones as a vice chair. Are there any other nominations? None in
I'll
chat?
second that nomination.
Great.
Is that Geraldine?
Was that
Geraldine.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded as designating Sherry Jones as vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
I was gonna ask if she was okay with it.
Yes, she
Looks like it.
looks like it, yeah. Okay. As long as Daisy's always here. Oh, okay, so motion carries. So congratulations, Sherry. And I'll be off the next 4 months. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, okay, let's go on to, we've got a lot of discussion topics to talk about. We can start with the March metrics review, which is is that the last page of our packet?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this is my talking point here, I think.
Welcome, Jamie. Can
Thank
everyone hear
you.
Jamie okay?
All right, so our trended March this year was 33,459 documents being recorded across Iowa. And that's a 14% increase from last year's March total of 29,304. And it marks the second highest March on record.
Yay! Awesome. Great. Any questions about the trend? Okay, let's move on to the distribution issues for February.
Okay, at the end of March, I'm sure you all know that we had some issues getting all payments in a file. So I thought I'd just kind of run over how the process works a little bit. The process on a normal day starts running at approximately 4:50 p.m. During the process, our system grabs everything that is ready in paid status and starts sending ACH transactions to USA ePay at that time. Normally, USA ePay has everything ran for payment at around 5:02 p.m. and sends a confirmation back to our system where ILR batches the payments into a notcha file at approximately 5:12 p.m. So on a normal day, the entire process can be completed in approximately 20 minutes. Mid-March, the file started processing late, around 5:24 p.m. However, for that first week, the transactions were still all included in the file. The notcha was just arriving to me later than normal. The development team reviewed the process several evenings to determine it was a latency of processing was not on our side and confirmed that it was not. Starting March 20th, USA ePay was still processing transactions after the notcha file was generated. Myrna was able to jump on, but we couldn't figure out what the issue was, and there was no option to generate a second file. Kelly, our IT contractor, was able to jump on later that evening with Myrna and looked at everything as well, and also did not see anything wrong on our side. Our system processed the remaining transactions Saturday evening, and those just were distributed Monday morning. Monday through Tuesday, the same thing happened. I watched USA ePay those nights, and the transactions were still running at 5:30 p.m. both days. The workaround to file processing issues previously has been to create a second notcha file labeled B, which contains the remaining of the transactions for the day. However, because USA ePay was still running transactions so late in the evening, it was not possible. On March 25th, the development team adjusted timing to accommodate for the latency in USA ePay's processing so that all transactions would be in the file. For now, we have pushed back the file to start sending transactions at 5 p.m. instead of 4:50 p.m. This will ensure that all transactions for the day will be sent the same day, even transactions that reach paid status at 4:55 p.m. And start the notcha process at about 6 p.m. to have the file ready at around 6:05 p.m. instead of 5:12 p.m. to ensure that everything is included in the file and that counties can be paid the following day. This is only a temporary fix until we get more answers from USA ePay, since transactions are still running after 5:30 p.m. Because the transactions are running so late, ESS is also delayed in receiving our money. Normally, a turnaround of about 5 to 6 days has turned into 6 to 7 days, business days. We are still working with Professional Solutions, and they have entered several tickets with USA Pay to receive traction on the file processing latency issue. They have confirmed that their tech team is also looking into the issue. We are exploring a couple options. One option would be to begin payment cycle with USA ePay earlier, possibly around 4:30 p.m. Currently, when we are not having issues, the file is sent around 4:50 p.m. The transactions are processed successfully until completion. Any transactions completed before the cutoff of 4:30 p.m. would be deferred to the following day. A second longer-term option would be to transition away from USA ePay and evaluate alternative payment processing provider. Professional Solutions has provided us with 2 other options. These options are being evaluated, and we will have an update in a future meeting.
Great. I appreciate that, Sam. I know it was a lot of work for you all. So are there any questions from the group?
I just wanted to say I appreciate the explanation and I understand how much work it's been for you guys, so thanks for keeping track of all that.
Right.
Well, how long have we been using the USA ePay? Do we know?
I'm sorry.
How long have we been using them?
We, switched to them, I'm gonna say about a decade ago. We used to be, do our payments through Fiserv. You know, when you get into this, Fiserv and First Data are still the main companies nationally. But they don't necessarily serve as, they're not the only, parties that serve as that payment gateway. Um, Professional Solutions, when we started working with them, which was the same time we started moving away from Fiserv, uh, they they uh, they recommended, and we migrated to USA ePay. So I would just have to put it in perspective here that for a long time, more than a decade, USA ePay and our other partners at Professional Solutions, and then also Vericheck, who is also a party to the ACH transactions. They've done a good job, and this is not something I would just say, well, this is a terrible vendor and they've never done a good job. But there's something going on here that's new. We generally have some awareness that uh, USA ePay was recently acquired by another company, and we aren't exactly certain what the longevity of that system is. So, as we've talked about it here, I think that there is some sentiment to changing to a different payment gateway, still in partnership with Professional Solutions, and they've identified some options for us to explore. The issue is, though, that we do not have the ability to pivot that quickly, given everything else that is on our plate, particularly with our development team. Um, and so we're insisting to the best that we can to Professional Solutions and USA ePay that they address this and fix this problem. That doesn't mean that when it's fixed, we're just going to go back to normal, but it would get us back to some sense of normalcy so we can address the longer term changes in who's providing our ACH payment gateway services. So those will be explored, and this is something that Jamie and I have discussed. Um, Probably too soon to make any final decisions on, but you know, I would just say on behalf of the entire team that has worked on this, everybody's working very hard. There are some that are having to do things out of later hours than is really reasonable to expect to be sustained over the long term, but we can muddle through. So we do have a workaround in place. I think we can continue to make that work with a little bit extra effort, but it will be a while before we have the long term solution to this. So I look forward. I know Samantha is really looking forward to reporting back to everyone that we've at least got a temporary fix in place, and then we can see where we go from there. You may recall, some of you that have been around for a while, that we went through a fairly elaborate RFQ process some years back when we moved away from Fiserv. And I'm not sure if that would be necessary for you at this time, but alternatives will have to be explored at some point. That's all I can add at this point.
Okay, thank you for the explanation and all your work.
Any other questions or comments about that? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the audit update. So I think we talked about this, it was in our March 5th minutes to give an update of this meeting. So, is there anything to update on the audit?
Sure.
Okay.
Denman has put us on the calendar. The audit for 2025 will start April 20th. Usually lasts approximately a week in the office, and then they move out of the office and let us know if they have any needs for any additional material or any questions. That's it.
Great. Okay, we'll move on to the WordPress update.
Yes, so the WordPress update, we're in the middle of our phase 2. Our phase 1 was completing, an audit on the site, then looking at the amount that the content has been used and things like that. And we've completed that first phase and started our second phase, which is revamping the navigation, identifying the content that we want to have on the site based on the audit that was completed. And so we've begun our conversations about what we want to have on the navigation and what we're looking at for moving pages around. So at the top of this, now this is just a wireframe. It's not going to be the final thing. I just wanted to share this so that everybody had an understanding of what that would look like. We have 2 transactions that are very important on this initial page. One is the login option, and the other is to create an account. That's really what we're trying to get people to go into. So we've talked about having that login on the top right side, along with quick links on the banner image. And if you go down a little bit, Samantha, we have the tax calculator right on that first front page. It's one of our most used resources.
Okay.
And then having a quick way to get to contact support. And then if you go down a little bit, Samantha, this is the navigation that we're looking at implementing with some rearranged information. So again, this is not all final. We have sent it to start the development process, and we are planning on reaching out to everybody that completed surveys that I believe there were 6 to 8 people who were interested in helping us test and go through everything with our quality checks. So I know Kristen is working on that, and we'll be sending out a communication to those individuals, and we're going to get started on that as well.
Do we have the ability with the news site to, and maybe this is not something I want to, sorry, get closer. This is Jamie. I was just asking if we have the ability on the news site to do like, like some websites have like the AI chatbot type things. Is that something, I know Lisa, Samantha, those that help with customer service, can we offer that type of thing or offer a
I'm not
chat?
sure we have capacity for that
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, it's not part of this budget and proposal that they provided, but that's certainly doable.
Okay.
And I think that could be a later phase if we wanted to talk through that.
Just curious, I know that's a lot of websites offer that kind of option, so I know maybe in the future we should be looking at something like that.
It would involve other people being working. Corey and I do not have capacity for that.
But if they're easy to answer questions that you can train AI to answer, it might alleviate some of the workload too. So just a thought.
Add to the horizon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the majority of the questions we answer are, why can't I get logged in? How do I create an account? Those kind of things. I hope that the redesign will become more mobile friendly because we're all so dependent on our phones, and they're trying to talk to me about how they can create an account, but they can't get to it on their phone. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Great. Exciting, very exciting. Any other comments or questions about WordPress? Okay, we'll move on to the director search expense update. Thank you, Samantha, for putting this together.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So in the March meeting, it was requested that we kind of just get a summary of everything that we spent so far for the new executive director position. The top half, totaling $3,503.84, was the amount that we spent in LinkedIn and Indeed for the job postings. And then the other expenses are for the director search committee to, travel to the office for interviews and for lunch and donuts that day of the interviews. And then at the bottom, we just added the price for the new computer setup, docking station, and monitors that were needed for the position. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the expenses.
Any questions for Samantha? I just think it's good for historic purposes to, for the next people that are on the committee or later. How much did we spend for back in 2026? So any other comments or questions? You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the ESS office relocation expense.
I don't think you have to read it all.
Okay.
No, it was included in
Most
the-
of this was done. Keep scrolling down. So most of this was covered during the last meeting. Probably this is where we should start, is with
Yeah.
the expenses to date.
So what page are you on?
We're on page 142.
Okay, so if you want to scroll to page 142, if you have it printed out.
Okay, so for the expenses that we have so far and that we are 100% about, through Marketplace, we have purchased those 11 conference room and some side chairs. The original charge was $2,000 for 11 conference room tables and 10 side chairs. And then we ended up going back and buying an extra two from that business. The original cost of these conference room tables, if you would buy them brand new, are approximately $600 to $800. So we got a really, really good deal on these tables and chairs. The TV mount for the conference room of $42.78, and then the desk expenses from Business Furniture Warehouse of $5,484. 2 men in a truck were hired to move those conference room tables and chairs from one location to the new office. There was no refrigerator at our new office, so we did get a refrigerator from Lowe's. It was delivered last Thursday for $805.48. The conference room chairs from Amazon for $750. And then a second purchase from Amazon for cleaning supplies, computer cables, Ethernet cords, extension cords. This office is very long, so we did get a doorbell to hear if there's anyone coming in or out of the door. Some miscellaneous office supplies, dish soap, a cord cover so no one trips over the TV cords in the conference room. That total was $454.84, and we do have an Amazon business account, so there's no taxes included in any of these, and delivery fees are also free through Amazon. A metal rack for that firewall and router, and probably some additional storage, maybe for paper, $49.99. And then another purchase from Amazon for a paper cutter, scissors, Lysol, paper shredder, sponges, coffee pot, filter, broom, and some additional office supplies that we needed in the office for $353.78. The new office deposit, that was negotiated in the lease of $1,750 was paid at the end of March. And then Ethernet cords and power strips, we needed to get some additional of those for $106.99. So far, all charges that we know are and that have hit our account are totaling $12,207.05. And then some expected expenses from Amazon, a conference room TV. This has actually already been received. We actually received it about 3 weeks ago, and it has not hit our credit card yet. So I just put this down here because it actually hasn't hit our account. And then firewall from Iowa Solutions. We have not received the invoice for this yet. However, this was set up on Tuesday. We're expecting approximately $1,165 for a setup fee for the firewall for the office. The microwave from Lowe's is estimated to be approximately $100.
We had some rewards from buying the refrigerator
Yes.
that we put towards the microwave purchase.
And then the cubicle moving expenses, the cubicles were delivered Wednesday. Yesterday. We have not received the invoice for that yet. And then the printer moving costs, which we have also not received the invoice yet. However, we're expecting that to be approximately $800. So altogether, total estimated cost of $15,802.04, which will be coming out of the unrestricted reserve account. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the group?
I don't see anything in chat either.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the notification system RFQ update. It's easy for you to say, right? Oh.
What's the agenda?
The RFQ update.
Oh,
Notification system
Yeah,
RFQ.
if you related to the notification system. Well, the main message of that is that, and we'll be convening a special meeting, the ESS Coordinating Committee, to address this shortly. But we have completed an RFQ process. We had a committee. Committee reviewed proposals. There were three respondents to RFQ. Two of those vendors were picked for interviews, and the selected company, which really was unanimously selected by the committee, was CAT Systems. And I guess a main point I want to make that there might have been some confusion on is that the committee and ESS are not purchasing a CAT system. They are offering their software development services and their expertise to build one for ESS and Iowa Land Records, as you would expect them to do. So the overall cost from the perspective of the Finance Subcommittee is $277,000, which is a not to exceed amount. The projected completion date is somewhere in the neighborhood of June and July. The ILR team is going to be having a kickoff meeting with the development group at CAD Systems on Monday of this next week, and the development process will begin. Hopefully it's no secret, but I will be making that one of my primary focuses, in addition to working on the transition process to kick off that development process. So this is something that will be really one of my main focus points as we continue into April and possibly May as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
Thanks,
And if
Phil.
you're interested, say for the next meeting.
Any questions for Phil or the rest of the team on that? Okay, the last update is the Discover Card class action update. So at the end of March, I'm not sure why I got an email about this, but I'm like, oh, when I scrolled down and it said ESS. So I forwarded it to Sam and said, hey, what is this? And she's like, oh, I already took care of that last fall. So if you want to give an update on that a little bit, just
Sure.
what it is.
In July or August of 2025, we were notified that from 2007, sorry, 2007 to 2023, there was a class action against Discover for overcharging on fees. We received the paperwork, I believe, late September, October, and I did send that paperwork in for the POS system, and then also the e-sub system. The cutoff was in March to finish filing any paperwork, and I believe that they have started the court process. I did check on the submissions, and they both just say reviewed. So I haven't heard any further updates on it, and we have not received any reimbursement back, but I will let you know when I have more updates available.
Great. Any questions or comments from the group? Thanks for staying on top of that, Samantha. I appreciate that. Anything else for the good of the group? It looks like our next meeting is May 7th at 2026 May 7th, 2026 at 9 a.m. And if you are so inclined, you can stay for the ESS coordinating committee that starts in about 3 minutes.
But you have to log out and log back in.
Yeah, so log out and log back in if you'd like to stay tuned. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.